Bhakti Shiyuda Padkamam Shigam Vaishnavam Sham Shirupam Jagajatam Sagan Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaduttam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagadita Shivshakam Vitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sutta Devi Pranamama Hari Priye Kanka Kalpta Vishakri Pasanvi Visha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavini Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswata Devi Gaurvanya Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachari Desatarna Srila Prabhupada Ki. So today we will discuss mantra 17 and 18 of Shri Upanishad. Mantra 17 speaks about how the devotional service prepares us for passing the exam of death. So these are prayers offered to Isha. We are in the Isha Upanishad. The world is full of danger. Let me end this life and return back to the Supreme. That is the theme. The mantra. Ayurani lamam hitam atetam vashmantam sariram. Om kato smarkitam smara, kato smarkitam smara. Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifice, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. So it's a very intense emotion to look at what will happen when you die. What will happen after death is a serious matter. Gravity is required. Srila Prabhupada, why do we need the Lord to remember? The Lord is always remembering. So this call for help is not on the level of pure devotional service. A pure devotee surrenders and does not pray for anything for himself. That does not mean that we have to look down on this prayer. The fact that someone is preparing for death and realizes that everything is in the hands of the Lord is glorious, because there is a need to prepare for death. So here we have an overview of the purport of Prabhupada on this verse. The body is a foreign dress. We must give it up. The best way to give up the body is by surrendering to the Lord, not by going to the Brahmajyoti. What's the importance of our last thoughts? Krishna never forgets our service to him. Krishna's mercy is never available. It's ever available through devotional service. That Srimad Bhagavatam elaborates on this verse and all other verses. Best is to prepare for death by devotional practice during our lives. So the material body is a foreign dress. The body is foreign to the soul. Everyone must die. The importance is what we think about at the time of death. Krishna will remember our service at the time of death. Prepare for death by devotion service. So we will first attitudes towards the body. The material body is a foreign dress that must be given up. Three distinct attitudes here towards the body. Karma, material enjoyment. Those who want to enjoy the body, they romanticize the body. They think it's the body is a source of great pleasure. So their mentality is the body is a source of pleasure. It is the very purpose of existence to enjoy the body. The supreme goal of life is sense gratification. The body is romanticized that it is a great source of pleasure. So, but the body's capacity is limited. It is just very limited. It is an imagination that it is a great source of pleasure. The body is a road to pleasure that turns into a roadblock for pleasure. If a person becomes philosophically inclined that the body is a trap, so material desires perpetuate our illusion. Actually, the body makes us forget our spiritual identity. It makes us think that we are the body. What is the cause of the net? The net means material desires. The body is filled with urine, blood, organs, and so on. In the Bhagavatam, Purarav comes to his senses after his experience with Urvasi. Trying to enjoy a body made of all these abominable substances, one realizes that then one comes to a point of extreme rejection of the body. But in Bhakti, we use the body in the service of the Lord, like Ambarish Maharaj. Shavaimana Krishna Padara Vanyor Vachams Pakunt Vanani Varnani Karar Mandir Machna Disha Shutim Skarat Shutya Satkatodai. Much Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the feet of Krishna, his words describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. So in Bhakti, we utilize the body. And Srila Prabhupada says that one must take care of the body, now so that in the future we can take care of the body. That in the future we can take care of the soul. That a devotee utilizes the body. So romanticizing and demonizing the body are extremes of the pendulum. So the normal attitude is to use the body. That does not mean that we love the body. The urge to know comes from the Atma. Matter is dead and cannot experience anything. The body is a foreign dress and we need to give it up. We are dressed by our desires. The body has been given to me because of my past desires. Therefore, to cultivate a spiritual body, we are using the body in the service of the Lord. So how do we use the body in the service of the Lord? So the body will give us up, but we will not give up the body due to bodily attachment that until our subtle body becomes purified. So when one becomes old and invalid, then still we do not give up the desire to enjoy. Give up the body means giving up the desire to enjoy the body. The whole process of spiritual life is to purify the subtle body, and then when the body comes to its end, and the subtle body will not create another gross body. The process of Krishna consciousness is giving up the attachment to enjoy the body. This is given up by Bhakti. The preferred process is the art of Bhakti. All things will die by the course of nature. Animals are driven by instinct, but humans with their intelligence can derive to a certain extent a reality beyond the body. Srila Prabhupada talks about spiritual evolution, that the soul goes from lower to higher forms. He does not speak about the evolution of bodies. The last thought. Thus, at death we will remember that in which we have sought shelter the most during our life. It is the greatest shelter I sought is what. If the greatest shelter I sought is watching cricket, then our death will be a disastrous experience. If someone found shelter in alcohol that and cures, then there is always the chance of relapse. Whenever there is reversal or depression, the default function of the mind is to take shelter in which it is habituated. Even after becoming attached, we have to be careful, as our mind will gravitate to our attachment. The test. What's the test? If we leave the mind idle, then so many thoughts will come into our mind. You can try it. And as such, we can get to know more about our conditioned self. The mind is idle. And the mind immediately is going there. It's going there where the mind thinks that pleasure is available. Bhagavad Gita said, Antakala samami vasmaram, antekalevaram. It is remembering. If we are attached to the enjoyment of the body, then we will remember the enjoyment of the body. It is not a chance game. If we remember Krishna during our lives, even if we cannot remember Krishna at the time of death, Krishna will remember us. That is what this verse, Srila Prabhupada, is pointing to. So, how can he be both animisha and nimisha, opening and closing his eyes? Animisha, the devotee notices this. The Lord notices the service of the devotee. And nimisha, he closes his eyes when he makes accidental mistakes. So the purpose of the coach is to focus on the potential of the athlete and help him to develop the potency and to eradicate his defaults. Draupadi brought some fruits to Krishna with a knife to cut fruits. When Krishna used the knife to cut the fruits, he cut in his finger and blood started to come out. So then Draupadi ripped a part of her sari and started to bandage the finger. Krishna was peaceful, but Draupadi was concerned, and Krishna said, I will remember this service and repay you for this. For this, later, Krishna gave her unlimited sari in return. So Krishna did this for the sake of Lila. He let blood manifest from his body. We have the Bhutan story. Krishna closed his eyes to overlook the faults of Bhutan. That is Krishna. Krishna always remembers our service. Krishna is noticing, and Krishna will reward for everything, single service that we do. It is not that we want a reward for our service. We only want to serve Krishna. Even if there is no direct reciprocation, Krishna never forgets the service that we do for him. Krishna does not even forget us when we have completely forgotten him. So Krishna, that we discussed. Oh, I'm going in the wrong direction. Here. Krishna is ever waiting, ever willing, ever working. Is ever waiting. He's in our heart and waits for us to return back to him. A person waits for another person for 1 hour and becomes irritated. But Krishna waits with unlimited patience. Krishna is waiting even if we forget him or become against him. Or become against him. He's never upset with us. Nothing can stop from Krishna. Nothing can stop Krishna from loving us. So there is nothing I can do from the sun rising. Yet I can close my eyes and not see the light. Krishna is ever working. Gajendra prays, I surrender unto you. Please liberate me. Have mercy on me. You are, oh Lord, you never get tired. So the Lord is constant trying to get us back to him. What little work we do to turn to him is very tiny, but compared to what the Lord does for us. Just a moment. So even if I express my gratitude for the Lord, then still that will not be enough. The Lord internally and externally is working to purify us, externally as Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We cannot let the so-called love of this world become substitutes for our love for Krishna. So if we want to attain success at the time of death, the model is given in the Bhagavatam. We have the example in the Bhagavatam of Shravanam. Maharaj Parikshit is the example of Shravanam. Padasevanam, we get the example of Lakshmi. Atmanivednam, complete surrender, Balish Maharaj. So by practicing the 9 angas of Bhakti, we prepare ourselves. And now is the time for practicing. So practice now, because the present is all what we have. Our mind is lamenting or planning. The mind is going to the past and the future. Therefore, we cannot use the present. We often treat the present as unimportant. We think that the future is important. If we have an uncaring attitude towards the present, we lose the future, and the future will become the present. We need to purify ourselves, and now is the moment to purify ourselves. We will have similarly distractions in our lives. This brings the urgency to our lives. We shouldn't postpone our spiritual practice for the future. Spiritual practice can be done when we have an appropriate attitude for spiritual life. That appropriate attitude has to be cultivated now. Right now, whatever I have, let me offer that to Krishna. If we practice devotional service with this devotional attitude, we can make spiritual progress. So that is mantra 17. Mantra 18. Mantra 18 discusses how the omnipotent Lord guides the devotees to perfection. Mother Harshita, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Pranam. Maharaj, I think we're supposed to ask questions at the end, but just wanted that can you please repeat the last line that you said? With what attitude should we do devotional service so that we make progress?
I said appropriate attitude. That this appropriate attitude relates to the attitude of engaging always in the service of Krishna in one of the 9 angas of devotional service.
Engaging all our senses in the service of Krishna by the 9 processes of devotional service.
Yes.
That
we should do. Okay. Then we go to mantra 18. Mantra 18. So, how the omnipotent Lord guides the devotees to perfection. Yes. So we are coming out, and this were the 18 mantras. We started with the invocation, the Ishavasya verse. We learned the Ishavasya principle. The Lord is the owner of everything. And then how to live in harmony with that principle, to live in harmony with that principle, we must develop vision, how to understand Ishvara, and we must know what's wrong and right knowledge for understanding Ishvara, and wrong and right types of worship of Ishvara. And now we are at the prayers to Ishvara to reveal himself. So this is the overview. So the 2 first mantras of the last section, that there was a prayer to please take me from the impersonal functions to the personal form of the Lord. And the last 2 prayers of this last section are asking for the removal of the obstacles on the devotional path. So the last mantra is also a similar prayer. And now I will chant mantra 18. Agnenaya supataraje asman vishvani deva vayunani vidvam yoyotasmach yoranamino poyistam te namaktim videma. O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me to the right path to reach you. And since you know that all I've done in the past, please free me from the reaction of my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. So it is not just a prayer for maintenance of oneself in this world. Most people think that the purpose of God's existence is to help me in this world. It is true that God is willing to help also in this world. But ultimately, Lord Krishna wants to take us out of this world back to Him. The purpose of this prayer is to remove the obstacles of going back to Godhead. The prayer is very much devotional in its mood and in its contents. So here we have an overview how obstacles on the spiritual path originate. Achieving perfection, the gradual way and the quick way. How the omnipotent Lord guides a devotee. So, if we are reading from the first paragraph, the Lord is addressed as fire because He can burn anything into ashes, including the sins of the surrendered souls. So our past reactions causes us miseries in two ways. External as the problems that we face in our life. We may get sick or lose our job. We may have some problem in society in which we are living, and we may have to leave that place at some time. We may to relocate at certain situations. Also, along we get also internal problems. Our own lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion, these rise up and may drive us away from Krishna. These are also sinful reactions. The external physical reactions, internal psychological reactions, the way of conditioning comes and shakes us in the boat. The thoughts in the mind are not expressed until they have expressed physically. Then we call that a slip or fall. We may all have slips or falls in our spiritual lives. But yes, we let the past conditions take control. No one can blame the past conditions for our present condition. It is like blaming gravity for the sinking of a ship. Gravity is there for all the boats in the ocean. If the boat is managed carefully, then the boat will not sink. The gravity is responsible for sinking of the boat, but gravity is the ultimate cause. So gravity is common cause for everyone. Ultimate cause for everything is Krishna. Krishna does not cause our fall down. So there are always laws of material nature, and if we do not follow the laws or protect us from the laws, then we fall. If there is a hole in the boat and the boat sinks, then we cannot blame gravity for sinking the boat. Who is the cause? The person who makes the hole or the person who did not repair it? We can never blame our conditioning for our faults. The process of devotional service is like a boat. We are in the material ocean, and in the ocean we will be dragged down by our conditions. But in the boat of devotional service, we are safe. Bhagavad Gita 4:36. Apshatas pabhyo sarvabho papakritama sarvangana plaveni vavritnam santrishad. If you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So the boat is competent to take us over the ocean if we don't jump out of the boat. If we practice devotional service and continue secretly sinful activities, then we make holes in the boat. When a storm comes up, then we take shelter of Krishna. In all these situations, gravity can't be blamed. We have to take responsibility. When we are overcome by Maya, then we are not just victims. it are we who choose to do simple activities. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, such vikarma is enacted by the illusioned living entity simply for sense gratification, and thus such activities become hindrances on the path of self-realization. So how does one overcome all of this? One is the gradual way and the other is the rapid way. The gradual way is that one starts to cultivate Brahminical culture. The gradual way is striving vigorously to develop certain qualities. Srila Prabhupada talks about it in the purport of 6.1.13 of the Bhagavatam. Tapasa brahmacharyena shamena shardamena chatyahena satya sabyam yamena niyamena. To concentrate the mind, one must observe a life of celibacy and not fall down. One must undergo the austerity of voluntary giving up sense enjoyment. One must control the mind and senses, give charity, be truthful, clean, and non-violent, follow the regulative principle, and regularly chant the holy name of the Lord. By this practice, one becomes purified. This is a gradual way. This may take a long way. The quick way is to connect with the spiritual master and learn devotional service. Then we become quickly purified. Becoming purified is like removing fog. Fog is everywhere around, difficult to remove. But when the sun rises, the fog dissipates. When we develop devotion for Lord Krishna and chant his holy name, Agamdu Vasikarsniya, we become completely purified. Keshit Kevalya Bhakta Vasdeva Prayana Agamdu Vasikarsniya Niramiva Bhaskara. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.15. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful action with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. So it's more effective because we depend on the strength, because we depend on the strength of the Lord rather than our limited strength. So the rise and fall in Krishna consciousness. Akarma. Akarma is devotional service. We take the elevator. Karma kanda is a slow way up to become liberated, eventually liberated many lifetimes. And vikarma, sinful activities, takes us down, lower species, lower plants. Today, most people are engaged in vikarma. The whole world centered around vikarma today. Our goal is not to laugh with people, but to try to elevate them. We should not be contentive of everyone or of anyone but we do not want to be dragged down by them. Yet we should not have a sense of superiority. No one wants to feel devalued. Moral and legal activities are mostly in the realm of karma. It will depend on the devotee's consciousness. So karma or vikarma. When our consciousness is one of service to the Lord, then all our activities become akarma. In this world, we cannot avoid some contamination, fire covered by smoke, but the devotee tries to spiritualize all activities. But even on the path, there are obstacles, and the devotee may fall down. So we have material and spiritual activities for the maintenance of the body, and spiritual activities through devotional service. So during the material activities, one may be dragged down by sin. While doing karma, one may fall down to vikarma. How does the devotee become protected? By the practice of devotional service. That is our protection. By the practice of devotional service, one gets strength, determination, and intelligence. By that, one can pull oneself out of the traps that tempts a person. Unless one is fixed in devotional service, we may have occasional relapse in sin. So if a person is engaged steady in devotional service, then these relapses should be overlooked. The devotee should be encouraged to continue practicing devotional service. Srila Prabhupada gives an explanation of the omnipotence of the Lord. Such is omnipotence to the Lord. He can make a man born in a Brahman family as degraded as low-born dog-eater. And he can also make a low-born dog-eater superior to a qualified Brahman, simply on the strength of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada is talking about the omnipotence of the Lord in terms of transformation of the heart that he can bring about. By the process of Bhakti, Krishna is lifting up a person. Krishna supplies the rope to come out of the well. And what makes us pure in Krishna's grace? Our duty is to constantly practice devotional service to avoid falling down. Bhagavad Gita 6:26. Yato nishanati manashan samastram tatastato nyamyeta atmaneva vashamnyat. From wherever the wind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must soldier drown it and bring it back under control of the self. So Srila Prabhupada explains the omnipotence of the Lord in two ways. One is at the bottom of the lake. One who is at the bottom of the lake, the Lord can pull up this person. Even a dog eater can be elevated to the highest position. The dog eating is indicating the mentality of the person, because the consciousness of the person is so low that eats such things. Srila Prabhupada says that the Lord can make one born in a Brahman family more degraded than a dog eater. Does the Lord want to make a more degraded? Does the Lord want to make one more degraded than a dog eater? Does the Lord want someone to fall down? The Lord does not deliberately the Lord does not deliberately wish anyone's fall. So he does not want that. But the Lord controls the powers in material nature. So Maya Sakti is also Krishna's energy. Saintliness does only come by the grace of the Lord. A Brahmin is considered very, very deliberated, but if the Brahmin does not use the rope of Dharma, then he also will fall down. He is not engaged in devotional service. So the mind is extremely powerful. The only way the mind can become God conscious is to take shelter of Krishna. Krishna says, among the senses, I'm the mind. The devotee should remain above the gravity of material desires. Negligence in practicing devotional service is a cause of challenges. So, the omnipotence of the Lord, have more faith in his ability than doubt about our own ability. That's the theme. The omnipotence of the Lord means that whatever my limitations, Lord Krishna's strength is stronger than my limitations. Krishna is omnipotent, and he will help me. Once we are fixed on Krishna, then that lifts us up. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.542. Karabajan Yogendra instructs King Nima, says, Sapadamulam bhajata piyasya jaktanya bhavasya riparasam vikamayasot patitam skatanchit tonoti sarvam ritisannifishtam. One who has thus given up all other engagements and takes fully shelter of the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very dear to the Lord. Indeed, if a surrendered soul accidentally commits some sinful activity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart, immediately takes away the reaction of such sin. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, the Lord is so kind to the devotee who is fully surrendered to his lotus feet, that even though the devotee sometimes falls into the entanglement of vikarma and acts against the Vedic direction, the Lord at once rectifies such mistake from within the heart. This is because the devotees are very dear to the Lord. So these verses gives us faith that Lord Krishna wants to help us. Krishna is in our heart, not to catch us, but to coach us. But we have our battle against anarthas. Helpless defeat. We try to fight with our conditioning. Or we try to fight with our conditioning. When someone tells us no meat, fish, eggs, no sex, intoxication, we say, then forget Krishna consciousness. That someone says, I want to eat fish, eggs, sex, and have sex, and take alcohol, then we say, forget Krishna consciousness. We feel it is impossible we feel it is not impossible. Not impossible to live without these things. The struggle and defeat, the devotee decides, I'm going to fight determinedly. So there is struggle and success. Here one thinks, my goal is to enjoy and go back to Godhead. Also struggle is there, but one gradually moves to success. Most devotees, they become strong enough to give up the strong sinful activities, but one does face the struggle. We inquire from devotees what to do and what not to do. Krishna sends us help in the form of devotees, counselors, deities, holy dham, guru, etc. And then, we come to effortless success finally. The devotee has lost the inclination for the temptation. The more one becomes purified, the more this dragging down stops. So it's a struggle. In the beginning, helpless defeat, and struggle and defeat, then struggle and success. Finally, we become, without effort, successful. So the real magic of the devotees is in the heart. The purification takes place. As long as we nourish our devotional practice, we will make progress. If we keep practicing every day, the hearing and chanting are like the food for the soul, then gradually we will come to success by rendering devotional service, rendering the best service that we can. Very few devotees may struggle with their tongue. Practicing in the beginning is not easy. Enjoyment is presented, and you need to say no, but never give up. We never lose till we lose hope. Krishna gives us always opportunity to advance in devotional service. If we fight a war if we fight a war and we think that our weapon is a burden, then we will soon end up in the graveyard. That as long as we have our weapons, we may get wounded, but we will never get defeated. A devotee will be checked, but not checkmated. That we lose when we lose hope. Krishna has not lost hope on us for many lifetimes. Then why losing hope? In a short lifetime, we can become liberated. It is possible, and a glorious struggle. The fruit is eternal happiness. Srila Prabhupada said, we operate on the platform of serving Krishna. As devotees, if we look at the world and look at the mind, we will become discouraged. Therefore, as devotees, we look at Krishna. We keep our vision on Krishna. It is a matter of our own determination. The person in the well has to hold a rope, and Krishna will pull us up. To Srila Prabhupada, at the purport at the end, the devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of devotional service. And he comes to know the path of the Lord and the way to attain him. As all doubts diminish, we become pure devotees. So, this how Krishna takes care of us is also mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Shushrushoshadhanasya Vasudev Kata Ruchishyanat Sevya Viprapunyat Tirthani Sevanat. So devotees who are free from vice, who have given up sinful activities, they render service to the Mahatma. And by the service to the Mahatma and the service of hearing the Bhagavatam, hearing about Krishna, hearing the message of Vasudeva, they become attracted to Krishna. So that is the way to get taste in devotional service. One hears about Krishna and one serves the spiritual master. And when we do that, Krishna in our heart, what does he do? Shrimvata Svagata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Rityantadoya Badani Vidunot Sritsatam. Krishna, when he sees that we become attracted to him, then he starts to purify our heart of this desire of material enjoyment. So yes, Nastapaya Sabhatra Sunityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavatu Tamaske Bhakti Bhavati Naistik. This verse says the same thing. By regular attendance of the class of the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, these two things, all what is troublesome to the heart is nearly completely destroyed. So if we every day hear the Bhagavatam and engage in Prabhupada's mission, then our heart will become purified. How does it happen? Tato jastamoba kamalogasas tesiteratiranavitum stitvi satvi pasidati. The mode of passion and ignorance, the mode of especially passion to enjoy and ignorance is completely removed from the heart. and one comes to goodness. So goodness is also material contamination. Therefore, it was said in the previous verse, we are nearly purified. And what happens then? Evam pansa manaso, paravat bhakti ovata, paravattato vishyana mukta sangyasya jayate. Then you become peaceful in mind. That. And Bhagavat Bhakti Yogana. You feel the bliss of devotional service. That Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. And you start to understand something about the Supreme Lord. Mukta Sanghasa Jayate. You attain liberation. And then it happens. Vidyate Hridayegante Sityante Sarvasamsya. Psiyante Sasya Karmani Dristva Evat Manishvari. Then the knot of the heart is pierced. And then your heart is purified. And the chain of fruitive action is terminated. And then you see the self and the super self as the master. So that is the process how Krishna reciprocates and helps us to purify the heart. So this was mantra 17 and 18 of Sri Isha-Upanishad. Any questions, please? Or anything you remember you found particularly important?
Hare Krishna, please accept my respectful obeisances, Maharaj, and your lotus feet.
Yes.
I still remember the last line of the first class, and I was really overwhelmed with that line. I don't know in what connection you said, but you said that it's fine that if you are not willingly, if you're not, I mean to say the crux was this, that it's fine that if you're not seriously practicing Krishna consciousness, if you have time, then Krishna also has time. So this really touched my heart.
Krishna is waiting that he has time, that so yes, Krishna waits until we turn our face to him. We are now Bhaya-mukha. We have turned our face away, and therefore we have problems. Okay.
Besides this, there were so many beautiful things. I will re-listen the classes and make notes. So very blessed to have your association, Maharaj. Thank you so much for being so patient with our so many questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying my best also. Anything else? Good.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Pranam. So thank you so much Maharaj for blessing us with your presence in this batch. Certainly we are very fortunate to have your association and especially for this unit. So we just want to thank you Maharaj for your presence and coming and giving your time and sharing so many realizations. So thank you very much Maharaj. We hope to see you in Bhakti Vaibhav also. When these students will join Bhakti Vaibhav, we'll start Bhakti Vaibhav when we want to see you as a teacher in Bhakti Vaibhav also, Maharaj.
Yeah, thank you. I'm always happy to be at your service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Prabhupada. Hare Bol.
सीबीए कब है बता दो भाई. Hari Bol, ISKCON Rohini Institute.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा, बता दीजिए, इतना
प्रभु जी
सन्नाटा
अभी आए
क्यों?
थे, चले ही गए। प्रभु जी से ही डिस्कस करना था, वही कह रहे थे बताऊंगा, जल्दी बताऊंगा। कहाँ चले गए? चले ही गए।
मैंने तो सोचा कि इस वीकेंड पे लेके खत्म करो यार।